Cain. We're at the Land Painting in Place show. I'm de-installing my piece called Runaway. It's been up for the past couple months and tearing it down today.
What are you doing?
Just saving some. It probably can't go into another painting because it's all fucked up, but I'll just hold on to the crap until I figure out what I can use it for.
How do you feel when you're de-installing the work on site?
I was sad in the beginning, but now it's kind of, it's nice to see, I don't know, it's just part of it.
I'm talking about a sex party. Me fucking you, fucking up, fucking him, fucking me, sex party. Baby, everyone window getting down on the floor, we'll have a sex party.
I've always had cats my whole life, but this group started with Stormy. She was living on a lawn chair in my neighbor's backyard in Echo Park, and she had had 3 litters of cats, and they had trapped and fixed all of them except for Gray Beau, the little guy that hides under the shed, who's one of hers. They're really, really close. They sleep together, they do everything together. Those 2 live inside, and when I moved from Echo Park to Highland Park, I took them with me. So technically I have 2 cats, for the record. But then I put a limit of I'm allowed to feed 4 at a time. So now you saw, maybe her name is gonna be Emerald, I don't know. And then Lion, he controls the block. He's a really tough dude. I think in general, I'm attracted to feral creatures that seem really wild and chaotic, but actually I have a specialty at taming them, and then they're like the most lovable creatures. It's like the perfect example of loving something, but accepting that it's gonna leave whenever it wants to leave, or accepting your lack of control over everything, which is essential in the studio. I feel really great when I'm painting, and the world feels really amazing, and I feel so lucky that I can be in here every day. And when I'm on, it's just amazing. It's like I'm just cruising through life, doing what I love. And like when I just took a week off to travel for a show, I feel like a week worth of like making stuck inside me that like I need to get out. The studio's very messy right now. I'm getting ready for a couple shows. I just shipped one out and now have to ship out one for Milan, and I just started working on New York. So this work will go in a couple different places. And I'm getting ready for a studio visit too, so I'm gonna rehang the studio today. You're seeing things like in a lot of different stages. I'm pretty sure this one I just finished. This one is almost done. I have to finish it, but I'm not gonna do it today because I have to like really get in the zone to figure it out. A lot of the times, like I'll figure it out when I'm working. Usually I don't plan. I can feel when it's not done. There will be like this little nagging feeling. And sometimes that lasts like 5 minutes and I figure it out, or it's like maybe 2 years, which is really, really annoying. And a lot of the times I feel like I have to get into the zone that I was in. I mean, you have to be like in the zone to make the work, but then there's all these different stages and I have to get back into that same stage where I left off with the work in order to make the next move. So that's really hard, especially when a lot of the work is this sort of translation of the personal world into something bigger. So if I get stuck on a painting being about a specific person or place or time, it's this funny relationship of like working it out in real life in order to work it out in the work. I mean, it's not as specific as like my own personal problems. They move into bigger ideas or feelings that if it was just stuck in my own personal, it wouldn't be a successful painting. But when it moves out and the viewer's able to feel it and enter into that zone, even if they can't really explain what it is, they can usually feel it. then it's successful. As an artist who's trying to make work that lives and breathes in the present tense, you have to be in it. And like in it, I mean like your life, your decisions. And I feel like in my life, like I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to compromise with the work, with the materials, with life decisions that impact the freedom that's needed to make the work. If you have normal world obligations, it really messes me up. I like to just like work through into this clear zone of possibilities and experimentation. And it's always with like I'm always experimenting with materials or ideas or just something that seems so stupid or totally impossible, or how could you do a painting with that material? Like like the initial thought sounds so dumb, but in working through that or just allowing myself to accept that I could do a painting with necklaces and feathers, or like owning up to this, like I've been really into this owning up to this super femme idea recently and going like really big with femininity, which is about a lot of things, but like I think it's really a way of processing like what it means to be a woman and what power means. And so a lot of times now I'm in this zone of working that out with materials, and it seems really dumb at first, but I think it takes people a bit, but then all of a sudden when they get into the language of the work, then they start to really understand it. And I think that's great. Like I'm not really interested in artwork that you understand instantly. I don't really see the purpose, and I never like set out to make a painting about this specific thing. Like it might be a general feeling, but if I know what I'm doing or I know what the painting's gonna look like, then there's really no point in doing it. So a lot of it's about like embracing the unknown and learning from the unknown.
You keep me modern, you keep me on point, you keep me honest, you keep my feet on the ground, you keep me modern, you keep me down. I got beat up but I'm laughing now, I got beat up but I'm laughing now.
Do people ever dumpster dive your work?
It's okay to say this, but I probably shouldn't, but people steal a lot of my work. I've had multiple times, yeah, things stolen.
Like
from a gallery and from a museum. Yeah, I mean, I take it as a compliment. And then somebody tagged this one, which also I think is kind of cool. But it was like the second day it opened, so I painted it back out. But like the piece I did in London, I signed it by crossing out the taggers stuff. So I feel like there's a lot of like back and forth with it all.
When you start a piece, how much do you know about what it's going to become?
I really have no idea. If like there's a few times where I think like sometimes I'll have dreamt a piece and I'll be like, oh, I want to make that. It never works. It's always just about like I get this sort of, you know, it's like you get this internal feeling that something's coming, and then you just have to like act on it right when it's coming, or else you lose it. This was a giant clothesline that went across here, but then it snapped and all fell, and it had like 100 of those strands. So first I ripped this canvas in the width of a stretcher bar, so 2 inches, and then over here I painted them. So this is a reject one because it didn't tear right. So then this painting was tabled flat, and then this was attached all the way around. And this was this funny technique I just used for the first time on this other painting. When I was a kid, probably like 7 through 10, I would always show my art in the county fair. So, and I would always win. I was like, that's how my parents probably still think I'm a great artist, because I would win in the county fair. And I'd get these purple ribbons that looked like these. And this painting's called New Logic, and it's about what I was talking about with the femininity and just, I was a kid in the 80s, so I think a lot of these are, I think like a lot of times artists go back to their first memories of color or form, or like I remember my first memories are, it's like 1982 and I'm 3, and I grew up in upstate New York, and they would have these hot air balloon landing days where they would all take off and land in this huge field of white snow with all these crazy, beautiful, hot pink and orange balloons taking off and landing. And that's like one of my earliest memories. So I think a lot of the times the colors I use are just going back to like, do kids always see color? Do babies have a moment where they switch from black and white to color? Because that might have been my moment. Obviously, I don't have a kid. Yeah, cats see color, I think. A lot of color.
So badly turned out, fading like they came to be. They came to be.